A July 13th report in the New York Times shed light on one of Hamas's most repugnant practices, using its own people as human shields. One Hamas official quoted in the story shared that following Israeli evacuation orders for Gazan civilians, Hamas terrorists moved into those areas in order to launch attacks. According to the report, Israeli soldiers would frequently find guns and grenades inside houses and other civilian buildings. Hamas terrorists in Gaza who do not wear uniforms will come up from underground tunnels in order to pick up weapons left for them before returning underground to launch surprise attacks. Hamas terrorists, and most likely many hostages, remain in the terrorist group's enormous underground network of tunnels, where they have almost a year's worth of supplies, the newspaper said. Those tunnels, many of which were built with international humanitarian aid, exist directly underneath hospitals, schools, and other civilian infrastructure, a war crime. One of the most egregious war crimes by Hamas is the terrorist group's use of children, and the report cited how Hamas frequently uses children to relate information to its fighters. Hamas manufactures and stores weapons inside mosques, hospitals, and other civilian facilities throughout Gaza. Beyond showing the total disregard Hamas has for its own civilian population, it also sheds light on how the terrorist group's casualty numbers and all other claims cannot be trusted. Hamas terrorists will wear civilian clothes, sometimes even tracksuits, before firing on Israeli soldiers or firing rocket launchers from apartment buildings. Then, when those terrorists are killed because they look like civilians, news media outlets will show those images to the world, falsely implying they are innocent. And they're not. They're terrorists. Furthermore, Hamas's use of civilian infrastructure to launch attacks is what has turned those areas into active war zones. Despite Hamas's open and unabashed use of its own people as human shields and how they make their fighters look like civilians, much of the news media has accepted Hamas's claims uncritically. It's far overdue for the Canadian news media to finally inform the public how Hamas's cynical abuse of its own people is the reason for any and all suffering in Gaza.